Hello everybody, this is Carlos from the Omegavus Trend. In this video, I am going to walk you through the process of trading the Emini S&P. I'm on a demo chart with no earnings or profits today. Explaining to you, the full focus of this video is to explain to you a system that we found out very promising on the Emini S&P. And I wanted to see if I can pull this off and show you step by step how it works. This is kind of the concept. I'm looking to make about $1,000 on the Emini S&P. In order to do that, we need to come up with the math. S&P 500, each point equals $50, right? If I want to make $1,000, I need to divide that by $50. And I need to make an average of 20 points. 20 points is a little bit staggering into trading with one contract. Is quite difficult, although the volatility is going to provide it. As we speak right now, it's like 10 times that. What we found out is, okay, so if I want to make I need to make 20 points at $5. How many points do I really need if I divide that by 4? So I divide this by the amount of contracts that I'm willing to trade on, which is 4. And now I only need 5 points. Now, this is extremely doable. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. If we let that go, assuming this is where the prices are right now as an example, 5 points is not even, you see here, it's right in there, very tight. As you can see, the volatility is massive, right, at this point. So needless to say, a minimum movement could provide that opportunity. So I'm taking advantage of the volatility, but also I want to make sure that I make the right decision when entering the market based on the OT momentum, so that I can see some profits, or at least some sort of a positive movement as soon as I get in, and have a better opportunity or chances of seeing that profit hitting faster. All right, so we already know what we're looking for. So I already set it up here. I'm going to set it at 4 contracts. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click floating order to go long, and I'm going to place it here. Here's the technique, and this is the whole thing of the video. How can we use the OT to pull the trigger when everything is kind of tangent? So if you know the rules of engagements of the OT, we need to identify the main trend. And the formula to identify the main trend is M15 positive or negative. This is the key. These are the big players where the majority of the momentum or trend on the longer end tends to be gravitating towards to. If it is positive above 120% or so, it suggests that the market will sustain an upward movement. Now, in order for me to validate that this will be true, I need to make sure that M5 is at 150% stronger. Now, the medium players, right, tends to validate with the big players. And finally, the high frequency traders, and being on the M3, hitting that number at the 200 mark. But today I'm going to demonstrate you how we can use the M1 for scalping and seeing the opportunity happening before even the other ones are completely lined up. So the plan right now is I'm sitting here. I'm going to move my entry order away. I'm going to leave it open just to get it ready. And once M1 hits above 100 and 110% or so, I will consider this a long position, enter accordingly, place my stop, the swing lows, and wait for my objective to be hit. Right? So with that being said, let's just sit back and wait until that happens. All right, guys, so nothing is happening. You can see here the OT is keeping us out of trouble because there was never a confirmation that we should pull the trigger into the upper ground. We could have easily gone short in there, no problem with that, but I just want to make the point across when we follow everything diligently, right? So now here's the technique. I'm going to close in, and this is my assumptions, and I want to try to give you a step-by-step process of my thought and based on how we use this. Notice how I rely on the M15 for the long term. Notice that it's losing power. It was on 200 and something, 200. Then it kept losing power. And you notice that the numbers are still going down. It just keep going down. This is just instructing me the fact that these guys are definitely going into the sell side. So what I can do is just take advantage of that. And I am going to do the exact same thing. And I want to know if, and look at the 400% M1, definitely way past that. But now I would love to see the M5 closing into the 150, and that is actually happening. So I'm betting at this point that these guys are definitely going to try to push downward a little bit further. So I can just probably take a little bit of a leap of faith, if you will, at this point and go short because the M1 is at the 400 mark. So here we go. We're short of the market. Now I'm going to move this away for a little bit. I'm going to move. This is wrongly done. There you go. I'm going to divide this. I'm going to move this one around for one of the other targets in there. And I want this to be at least about, I would say 5 points. And that would be around 60, yeah, 60.25, right around there. No, 60 even. So let's just put it at 60 even. There you go. Did I got it right? No, I didn't. Anyways, so we are $300, $400, $450. You got the point, right? So what I'm gonna do, let me just put it exactly where it is. There you go. And you will see 600, right? I'm gonna tie this two up, and $600 within a minute. Why? Notice that the M15 now is at 30, is keep losing power. Just imagine like a speedometer on a car, right? It's just losing power. You can clearly see it. 700, 850, 900. I closed the target at 525. Notice that would mean, and that was only half of that position. That means I would have made the $1,000 initially right in there. So it's 550. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna log in at 60 and look at the OT now turning extremely negative, right? So I'm gonna lock in that level there, 700 more. Just tied it up a little bit more and I'm out. And that is 1,175. That's how you do it. Now pay attention how I use the OT in a very completely different format that many people are accustomed to. Now, I would have left those two contracts in until the end of the day if I would have seen the M15 on negative numbers, but they're not. So for me, this could probably mean that these guys are going down a little bit, right? A pullback to possibly try to push further higher later on in the day, probably at 2 o'clock. It's not until I see the M15 negative that I would not consider myself a long-term perspective seller. However, I noticed how the M1 showed me the way of the momentum. It showed us clearly, hey, we're sellers. Sellers are controlling this. And the M5, right? M3 was already at the 200 mark. That was already gone. And as soon as the M5 was closing in, right? Moving faster towards the 150, I felt confident of taking that leap of faith because I was just going for a quick return of my goal. Get in there, get your 5 points, 5, 6, 7 points, make your $1,000, be done for the day. I hope this video finds you well. And if you're not part of the Omegavus Trend, here's the opportunity. Just check the link below. There's more information and videos on the website. You get any questions, just send us inquiries or questions you might have at support@omegavusttrend.com, and we're here to help. And this is the only way for us, for many traders that have changed their style of their trading to the better by utilizing the OT in so many wonderful ways. Remember, this is not a trading system, it's an aid. It's like the sixth sense of your trading system that you have right now, that if you're being lacking the consistency of the success rate that you're looking for, is because you're probably not seeing what's going on into the market tick by tick. Hope this video open up your eyes and give you some ideas. And again, if you got any questions, just let us know.